My 2 Comma Cup awards and what I've learned. I know if you're watching this, you're probably wondering how I got my 2 Comma Cup awards. I'm going to show you more about that and how I did it, but I'm also going to show you how I got a 2 Comma Cup award in a single day. Let's dive in. Hey guys, at the time of making this video right now, we are crossing about 10 million in sales in about 3.5 years. And I'm very proud of that. It's awesome. But I thought it'd be cool. I'm going through the first 8 million and looking at the lessons. So I'm gonna walk through basically million by million to show kind of what was going on in the business and also product, to teach some lessons on some things that we learned. Because you don't build a company like this all at once. Let's dive in. My first million actually happened about 13 months after I left my job. I left my job and I had no product. I didn't have like a sales funnel. I barely had an audience. It was really, to be honest, it was a little bit risky. I'm not encouraging you to go do that, but it took me about 13 months to get my first million. And the first million is the hardest. I heard that from several people, and it is so true. If you're on that path right now, more power to you, stick to it, because the things you're trying to answer is, who do I sell to? Right? What do they actually want, and how do I sell it? Those are the questions you have to be able to answer in order to hit a million. And so that's hard. Who do I sell to? What do they want to buy? And then how do I sell it to them? Those 3 questions are the formula for your first $1 million. The other millions after that have come a lot faster. Not easy, but faster, because I know those answers. And so I actually left doing a $1,000 product. It was a $997, and I was like, man, if I can sell $1,000 products, that's $1 million. It took me 13 months, and I was very excited. It was awesome, and hit my goal. I was a month late on my goal. I wanted to do it in the first year. But that's something that Russell told me as I was leaving. I used to work at ClickFunnels, and as I was leaving his employment, literally I was walking out of his office, which is where my desk was, the last day, and he goes, "What's your goal?" And I said, "Dude, I'm gonna do $1 million the first year." And he kind of like smiled, and he's like, "It's not as hard as you think." And I'm not gonna lie, it's Russell Brunson, so I was like, yeah, like, okay, dude, like, you poop out $1 million every 3 weeks, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, easy for you to say, bro, but he was actually right. By figuring out, again, those 3 things. I'm gonna go faster through these points, but it's who you sell, what they want, and how you actually sell it to them. Those are the hardest things to answer for your first million. All right, my second million came 7 months after my first, and I call it the messy million. I mean, I did not know what I was doing, man. It was like, I remember my first employee is Colton. He came in, he was already working for me for my first million, but there were questions. I remember the first time he sat down and he looks at me. I just hired him. It was his first day. And I'm working, I'm getting stuff done, I'm hauling, everything's on my shoulders, and I didn't really know about team management, you know? So he sat down, and I remember he was silent for like the first, I don't know how long he sat there, but after a while he's like, "Dude, like, what should I do?" And I remember sitting there and I was like, I don't know, like, work. You know what I mean? I didn't know team management. I didn't know how to go and like orchestrate a company plan and all this stuff. And so million number 2, I called the messy million, because we were doing all kinds of stuff, man. We had small, bottom of the value ladder products, way too many of them. And it was just Colton and I just hauling. And it worked, of course. Of course it worked, but it was messy. It was not textbook. Don't take that for how you actually do it. Okay, it was very, very messy. But the lessons I was learning, that were more about team management and how to actually set a goal as a team and say, let's do this, let's do that. We started doing something called cookies. And every quarter, if we hit the sales goal, we would get like a $300 to $500 prize of something of our own choosing. So we're like, are we on track for the cookie? You know, drop a little cookie in front of us. But those little lessons like that on how to actually team manage and team structure, that was hard for me. All right, my third million actually came in a day. We did an event, and there was 650 people there, and we sold a $25,000 thing, and we sold $1.6 million in sales, and collected the million quickly after that. But it was powerful. And what was powerful about it was for me to see that the name of the game for me is really pitch volume. It's instead of you and me talking face to face, the power of the internet and power of what we do with audiences is that I can pitch one to many. That's a big deal to understand. That means that instead of me spending an hour or 2 pitching a single person, I can spend an hour or 2 pitching 600 people. And I don't need that many people to buy to make a significant amount of cash. That was a big lesson for me. But that really, though, the next 3 to 4 million was a big lesson in agency, in systems, admin, management. That was stressful. I will tell you that it's cool on a headline. It's cool in a video for YouTube, but Whew, that I'll tell you, I got a lot of gray hair in reality from that. That was hard. Million number 5 for us was really weird because we started leaving startup phase as far as the big corporate world is, concerned. And so my banks and institutions started reaching out and they're like, what do you do? You know what I mean? They're like, sign this form telling us you're not doing internet gambling illegally. You know what I mean? It was stuff like, it was weird. And so all these institutions started reaching out. I don't know if it's like a threshold red flag for all of them, because it was like all at the same time. They're like, sign this thing saying that you're not selling drugs, that you're not doing naughty naughties on the end. You know what I mean? Like, it was all this stuff. And we had to go validate who we were, what we did. That was really when mission statements mattered, because I had to sell us to institutions. We had legal teams go through our terms and conditions like crazy for like a solid 6 months. It was really, in the eyes of like institutions, like leaving startup phase. That was also a really interesting time for us because million 5 is when we started getting serious about ads. I want you to hear me say that because so many people run to ads first. We really didn't turn ads. I mean, we had ads on, but not that aggressively until million 5. All right, and even Russell Brunson didn't turn ads on for ClickFunnels for the first 2 years. All right, don't think that ads are the only way to pull this game off. Hey guys, before I show you the rest of my vanity metrics, come on, it's a little weird for me to do. Hit the subscribe button. I have tried to teach business lessons from a look where I got bruised so you don't have to kind of a stance. So if you like these kinds of lessons and you want kind of a map of what you can kind of expect moving forward, hit the bell because we put these videos out every single day and I know they can help you inside your internet business. Before I got to the 6th million, there was a time I sat down and I actually wrote down how many times I had been on a stage or in a webinar where I pitched and nobody moved and nobody bought. It's over 2 dozen. So I want you to understand, like, I paid my dues in this game, all right? You know how awkward it is to pitch and it's just crickets and you're just like, hi, and you just like walk off stage. It is so awkward, man. It is so, so awkward. It's one of the worst experiences of life. Caveated, when it works, it's one of the greatest feelings ever. Okay, it's so, so cool. But I had paid my dues like crazy. Million 6 and 7 was another messy million. We picked up another 2 payment processors, lots of paperwork with that. It was massive. We were doing a lot of affiliate stuff. To date, we've done over $1 million in affiliate cash commissions to us from ClickFunnels, which is great. But it was another messy million, 6 and 7. It was like, I don't know, it was just like shotgun, go after a lot of stuff just because we can, we will. And so I was putting out too many products. And I'm saying this because if I could go back, I would cut half of our product line just right off the bat. Like, why did we even do that? That sucked. That's terrible. No, I'm not gonna. So we've paid our dues with this. And I want you to understand, like, less is more in your product line. It's not about like just firing off all this stuff just because you're able to do it. You actually confuse your following. And that's what happened, million 8. Million 8 I call the slow million because it was the pandemic. All right, it was hard and we had to reinvent everything. And I went back and I realized we had launched 46 products and funnels since I left ClickFunnels. 46. That is, whew, that was just my own. We had an agency where we pumped out over 100 custom funnels. I was still doing projects and still am with ClickFunnels. We had all these really high-level clients, which we still were building funnels for. I had built a lot of funnels. I did hundreds when I was working just for Russell. And so I looked backwards and I started seeing all this and I was like, you know what? This is interesting. No wonder so many people don't know where to start with our stuff. You know, it's good stuff, but it's too much. It's causing schizophrenia in the following. They're like, should I go to that or do I have to go to this or should I go? And I was like, slow your speech down and what's wrong? They're like, I don't know where to go. And so we went back and especially during the pandemic, we listed out all of the products that we had put out. And I don't regret doing this, but I probably would have just done it differently. We killed 40 of the 46 products. And I got to tell you, it was hard and it also was hard to kill. And I chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped and we reinvented our entire company. And I'll tell you that right now, even as I make this 2021, we don't have a product right now that even existed 6 months ago. We recreated everything. We revamped, we simplified the whole company, and the name of the game has been simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. Simplicity for us and for the person trying to figure out what they should do to be involved with our company. So as we crossed million 9 and we've been going into million 10, it's I'll tell you that the name of the game for us has been, again, simplicity, but evergreen products. Think about what it is that I sell. I sell a lot of information product, not a lot anymore. I sell a handful of information products, which is not recurring revenue, right? And so what the name of the game for us has been in the past little bit here is how do we identify evergreen continuity-based products means something that someone pays for every single month versus one payment and we never see them again and I have to go find a new customer. That's a hard business model. That's a really hard business model. I'd say that one of the biggest mentalities we've gotten over, and I've definitely gotten over the last, and I know I'm talking about big numbers here and someone will be like, oh my gosh, capitalist pig. Yeah, oink, proudly. This didn't even come around until episode 230 of my first podcast. And the reason I bring that up is because we don't have everything figured out before we start selling, right? We have the result figured out, but you can figure out, this game is way more forgiving than people think it is. Way more forgiving. But what you don't want to have is the mentality where you get complained for getting tackled. You know what I mean? You don't want to complain for getting, we call it, coach, I got tackled. Coach, I got tackled. It's like, well, yeah, you're playing football, duh. It's like saying, I'm in the pool and I got wet. It's like, idiot, of course you did. You know what I mean? Of course you get bumps, of course you get scrapes and bruises. You don't have to have the entire game figured out to start playing, and certainly to start selling. If you got your result figured out and it works, start selling. But that doesn't mean you're gonna have your swag, you're gonna have your big outcome, you're gonna have your movement all figured out. I'm still figuring that stuff out. And that's the point, is that this game's very forgiving and you can just move and march and start selling now. Don't wait. Hey guys, I got a free gift here for you. I went backwards and looked over the last 3.5 years to see what activities have caused the most revenue for us. And it's actually 3 campaigns. So I went and I created a free presentation for you that will show you the 3 campaigns that have made the most money for us, and we just keep rinsing and repeating them. Last night, I even talked about it with my team. I said, let's go back to the 3, okay? It's internetlaunchsecrets.com. The link is in the description. I know you're gonna love it because it's free and delicious and can help boost your bottom line.